No.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors. Have a question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comics Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
Good morning. Good
morning. Hey.
It's another wonderful day here on the Indie Comics Network. It's a Saturday, so you know it's good.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing?
Doing well. Cooking with gas.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes.
How are you doing, Mike Jimmy?
I'm doing great. Yeah, successful launch for the Lava Quarter volume. Plans for next week for the 24-hour challenge are set and great. And I've worked 4 days on my side job, so I'm out of money issues as well. Woo!
Oh, that's good.
So let's go around the room and let's have everyone introduce themselves. I'll start. I am Mike Jimmy de Bruin of Fairies and Ents, creator of Lava Quarter, and I've been publishing and creating comics for the last 5 years. It's been keeping me busy, and now I'm one of the hosts here on the Indie Comics Network. And let's go off to Rodney.
Hey, gang. I'm Rodney Fyke. I am artist, writer, creator, inker, color, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. For Hasm Productions, you can find me all over the internet, Rodney Fyke Art, Facebook, Instagram, the Twitch, Hasm.com, and you can go there and check out all of our books: Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Pitter Patter, Unchained, Roadkill Rampage, and very, very, very soon to a Kickstarter near you, Doghouse. So, yes.
Should I go next?
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Okay, I'll go next. I'm John Celestri. I'm a veteran comic book artist, animator from way back when, and I do cartoons now instead of animation. But in the past, I did Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special, and a lot of Saturday morning cartoons too, which is what I'm going to be doing today. Not Boba Fett, but some Saturday morning ish cartoons, and I do the Bloodwing Angel Chronicles series. So that's what I'm doing.
Excellent.
Okay, so
Marv, how about
turn,
you?
maybe. Hey everybody, I'm MarV. I'm a freelance creator from Portugal. I've been working with Fairies and Ents and other comics for now, and I'm the creator of The Sin Killer. And right now I'm going to draw traditionally for the interval that seems. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do something because I've been for the past maybe half year I stopped doing it, so maybe I'll sketch something for my next book, Michael Hunter of Man. So let's see how it goes.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Excellent. There's one more guy in the room. But is he really?
I'll just wait. No, I have a tendency to strap over somebody when they're talking, so I'm giving them a minute to finish. You can ask Rodney. Hey, I've seen Michael Lanning, independent artist. I have done work for various people. Arrow Comics with Calico Shard. The upcoming Doghouse, which I'm telling you to go get notified on that, which is from Hazard Productions, which I like to describe it as kind of being a Miami Vice with dogs.
That's pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, today I'll be working on some character expressions for a book I have with Shots with Comics Chad Perkins called Set the Hook. That's a book I like to say that if Herman Melville wrote Constantine, he'd have Set the Hook. So that's what I'm working on today.
Nice.
Sweet. So, does anyone else have any crowdfunding shenanigans going on, or am I the only one right now?
No,
Can't be, right?
don't have any crowdfunding going on. I've got doing the closest thing to crowdfunding is opening a store. So, and that's kind of
That's definitely good. Yeah. So that's the link in your name, right?
Yeah, that's it. I've decided that it's a lot easier to link that up. I'm doing my I do all kinds of work between my more mature material, but also with my all ages. So we'll see how that goes. The fact of the matter is that it's there.
Yes.
You could see it. You can get some samples, and I'm thinking of doing it if you sign up. On the website, I'm thinking of giving a sampler, a PDF sampler of all three of the series.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah.
Yeah, you
very
get like
cool.
8 pages of Bloodwing Angel Chronicles, Mega Moose, and Snuffy and Zoe. So
Sounds like a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, how are you going about making a store? Are you using a certain site or?
Oh, store? Yeah. I'm using Square. I have a Square. I have a Square account that I opened up about a year ago, and it gives you it gives you a place to have an actual store.
Okay, cool. I didn't
You
know-
can.
I
Yeah, you
didn't
can
know
see.
that. I mean-
Daphne has one that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Is it hard or is it difficult to learn or?
It's pretty much a drag and drop thing. I mean, it's very straightforward. It's not like you don't need any coding. They've got various templates that you could use, and they've set it up for you very simple. Like I just have. If you go to the website, you will see how simple it is. But you have to sign up for Square. Like you get like last year, I had a store, a little pop-up place here in Lexington, and it was about it wasn't bad. It was like 8 feet by 12 feet, stall within a little shopping mall that they've been developing, and so I had my comic books there.
Sweet.
So but to do business, you needed at least a Square, something, a little it's what would you call it? Just an attachment to your phone. where people can actually swipe their cards.
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how we did the business.
Oh, hey, that works.
Uh-huh.
So actually, I should have one nearby to show you guys. There it is. So yeah, this is Settle. This is an iSettle 2 by PayPal, and it's like 20 euros. It costs nothing, and it connects to your phone with an app, and it turns your phone into a counter.
Yep.
Essentially.
Oh, cool.
Well, let me show you let me get now that Mike Jimmy has shown you his, I'll show you mine.
This isn't after dark now.
Let me go look.
Gonna be that kind of morning, is it?
And find it. Hold on a second.
Everybody's feeling a little zesty on a Saturday morning.
That's what I said.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you just gotta show off.
Don't let Nita know, but I plan on picking a fight between After Dark and the regular network. We'll have a Biggie Tupac thing going on, East and West. You know what I'm saying? What?
Until the bullets start flying, I'm in.
I say we're gonna pick on them, and then with John here, we're gonna definitely poke the bear. But yeah, the storefront thing I think is extremely important. I was watching JD had Tom Hutchinson of Big Dog Inc. on last night, and he was doing an interview, and which is on the IndieComicsNetwork.com. All you have to do is scroll down and find the link to JD Calderon talking indie comics. Anyway, but they were talking about like he asked Tom. He said, Tom, you used to be in Diamond. You're not really in Diamond anymore. Do you want to go to Diamond? And I'm going somewhere with this, so wait, stay with me.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom said, no, he used to be in Diamond. It's been years since he's been in Diamond. What he's realized is that you're not going to really make money off the brick and mortar stores. I guess I was going to say the Rick and Morty stores. You're not going to make money off of those either.
No, nobody's making money off that anymore.
But off the brick and mortar stores. But he said he's thought about getting back in there to basically as a something to jug people. It's like I'm still here.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Polito and Lady Death. He was out of Diamond for a long time, and he was doing well. It's not that it hindered him any, but he went back into Diamond, and people were refreshed and reminded that he's still around, and then that picked back up. Yeah. So it's kind of gotten to where, like, those stores and those shops and everything aren't so much for selling as much as they are for, marketing. And I thought that was kind of an interesting take on that.
I mean, what you got to keep in mind is people go to specific websites to do specific things. And we've talked about this last week as well. They go to crowdfunding websites to crowdfund someone.
Right.
And if someone goes into a brick and mortar store to buy comics, they're there to buy those comics. And like having something new on the shelves once in a while, instead of just the newest release, can really just be a very nice, refreshing thing to have in those stores. Just to remind people we exist.
If a store would have like a classics section, right, or a refresh section where they pull from the back issues and just set them up there. I don't even say you necessarily have to have a method for doing that, right? You could just just pull some stuff, put it up there, and you might end up selling it instead of you stick it in a box. And now I'm expected to go through a box, which I like going through boxes. If you're a comic book person, you usually like going through boxes.
Oh yeah.
But if you're there for the first time, you're not really going to spend much time going through the boxes. So,
right. Yeah, it's going to help if it's out and somebody can actually see it.
Maybe we're kind of sitting here trying to help, trying to get to stores and depend on them to sell us. But maybe the stores kind of need to kind of step up with their own product too, instead of worrying about not having enough new stuff to sell. Maybe you should try to recirculate some of that old stuff and see what it does. You put it up on the shelf. There's a good chance you put classics or old issues in really small print at the very top. I promise you, they probably won't even know the difference or read the sign. So, life hacks.
No, I mean, they will look at an average panel for 3 seconds anyway. So, having the extra sticker doesn't matter either.
Okay, that's mine. This is the app. This is the attachment. Goes on your phone, and it's free.
Oh, that is nice.
Yep, that's what you. Let's see if I can show. There you go. That's all it is. You just swipe it through there. Your card's through there, and you have your app as an account. And you open up the account, and then they swipe the card, and that's it.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're. That's the. I think that was. It was the simplest thing to do, and I asked a bunch of the other vendors what they did, and they used all kinds of stuff. They said, be ready to do. What is it? Venmo and do cash and but basically the most people. Let's see what we had here. We had Cash App, Square, Vero. The Venmo, and what was the other one? What did they use? There was there one other thing that no one did.
Zelle?
Really,
Zelle, yeah.
I haven't done that. The cash. The thing is, with Square, it takes in all the cards.
Yeah.
Or people just gave me cash.
Yeah, like that was
fine. They just handed me a $10 bill and said, "Okay, that's good.
Enjoy yourself. Thank you."
Yep. So,
your money is always welcome here.
Everybody's money is welcome here.
Shots of Comics says recirculate the DC New 52. I'll be the only one to buy them.
That's
That's not necessarily true. Chad also says Square is a nice thing.
Yeah,
and, it's a good investment. So,
well, yeah, I mean, especially at some of the bigger shows, if you don't have a card reader, you're cutting your potential sales probably by 70%.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
People come to those shows with credit cards to spend money. So,
yeah, well, you think it's not really safe to be around a group of people and have cash on you. It really isn't. You're talking about people watching you that you don't even know were watching you, and
well, yeah, and people have. We've been at a show. Well, actually, unfortunately, we were at a show where the person next to us had their money bag stolen.
Yeah,
that is terrible.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, just to look on their faces and just watch their whole body language, they just sunk into themselves because they spent all weekend busting their asses and selling their wares, and then they looked down and somebody had taken their money bag, and the weekend was a complete waste.
I've had someone. Actually, a couple of friends of mine before, like even on the Friday before the con started, had their like safe stolen from their booth.
Yeah.
Like someone else organizing stole it while they were just setting up.
Oh yeah.
That's so sad. That's sad. You see people out there just working hard to get something, and you just come and take it. That's just aggravating.
Yeah, and the instance that I was referring to, it was a 2-person team where the one person was distracting a person with a potential sale while the other person swooped in and did the deed.
Yeah, that's why you never leave anything on the table when it comes to money.
Yeah.
Well,
no, that's not true, because if they hand you a 20 and you go to get change, leave that 20 on the table.
Oh yeah.
So when they say I gave you a 50, you can say, "Oh no, that 20 right there is what you gave me."
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Because they have those people too.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of a story that my mom, or not rather, incidents that my mom used to have to deal with. She used to work at we used to have what's called Kmart. I'm sure some of you guys remember Kmart.
Yeah, Tina used
which
to
is
work at Kmart.
Who? Tina?
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother worked there for 15 years.
That's where I learned to be
Back in, 70s, 80s.
Tina said that's where she learned to be so bossy.
Yeah. The people, man, I tell you. It shows you what kind of business people they were because they pretty much ran themselves into the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she was personnel over in the store. And what they used to have a certain group of people, which we can't use that term that you usually use with these type of people anymore.
Hoodlums.
No, that's not the term.
I know.
But yeah, let's just say families, quote unquote. Anyway.
Okay.
And they used to come in there, and what they would do is in one aisle, there'd be a couple of them go over, and they'd start a fight in the middle of one of the aisles.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that all the security and everything's going to this aisle and concentrating on this, while the others were going to another aisle and lifting stuff.
Yep.
So that's just a scam that they consistently pull. And the $50, $20 thing is what made me think of that too.
Yeah.
Also, was that the whole putting that $50 or putting the $20 on the table?
Yeah.
But you're putting their 20 on the table, so them taking it's not going to solve any problem.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You don't want to put your money on the table.
Exactly.
It's been going on since the Roman times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The only difference is that back then you had an axe that you could chop off their hands right there and then.
Well, they still do that in Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, okay.
John's going all blood and sand over here.
He's going all medieval on everybody.
The only time I'm showing you mercy is because I don't want to get blood on my drawings.
But I tell you what, though, I tell you what, when you're at a show and you've worked all week and you get up and you go to a show and you get up at the ass crack of dawn and you go set up and you run your booth for 2 days, usually 12-hour days, and somebody tries to steal your money, yeah, I'd be chopping their hands off too if I was legally allowed.
Oh yeah.
So you're lucky if I don't miss and get something else too while I'm at it. But,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people don't realize, by the time they get to the show, we've already put in 20 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
pretty much.
People don't understand. People don't understand how much work it takes to give them some entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like why I do not. I think it's a terrible thing for this AI. I'm going to be talking about that because in terms of taking stuff that other people have done and just putting it through a blender and said it's mine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, here's the thing, right? I am not against AI. I am not against AI as a tool. I'm not against AI being fed art by other people. I'm against people abusing that asset of AI to give themselves monetary gain, and acting like they put in the effort that the creators did.
Mm-hmm.
The AI as a tool is a wonderful thing that should be praised. It's the abusing people that are the problem. It's not the AI. The AI is fine. I'm cool with it. It's a wonderful tool. I would love to be able to use it more.
Oh well, here's my argument about that, and that is that that artificial intelligence is one thing, but they are using they're stealing the artwork to develop all that material and for people to work with. That's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's the programmers that are the ones who are, really abusive with that. It's a false premise, that you are creating stuff. it's like they've taken everybody's work and created a library. Well, no one's being compensated for that. And
No.
without their art, there is nothing. All it is a blender.
Well, yeah, I mean the software, and I agree with Mike in that it is a tool to be used, but where the rub comes in is, and this is where the rub always comes in, corporations come in and they see a way to cut corners and save money, and they start doing what they've done with it, and it becomes a pariah to folks like us.
Yeah. And there is a thing, there is just the element of people. Well, without the free material that they've taken off the internet, they'd have nothing to put in their app.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like they've created, a way that you can take your own material and work with it. It's nothing. It's not that at all. It's just, we're going to take all this free stuff that is free, and then you can go and do something and basically entertain yourself.
Yes.
That's all that is. I mean, it's not. That's. Anyway, there you go. Okay, I've said my bit.
You're completely right, though. Like, it's a toy. It's a toy that's being given to that is given to everyone, and some people are completely misunderstanding the point of the game. And it's fine to make your own rules for a game, but don't call it your own game just because you changed one or two things.
Yeah. Well, that's a big thing, and things like, I saw in one of a friend of mine, I follow him on Twitter, and he retweeted something. The first AI comic book that was that tried to get a copyright from, in the Library of Congress, it's been rejected.
Yes.
Because it's not original art.
No, it's not. I saw that too, and I'm glad that we won that, because if they would have been fine with it, that is the point where we would have really been in trouble as original creators.
Well, and then and corporations, they'll try and just get whatever they can.
Well, I mean, you kind of see it going on in Hollywood right now. Is there's nothing new or there's nothing original. They're rehashing stuff and remaking stuff. They've been doing it for the last 15 years.
Of course,
because they don't want to pay for anything new.
Right.
Yeah.
So eventually, it's going to get to a point where they've strip mined everything that exists, and eventually, I mean, artificial stuff can replace this and can replace that, but nothing's going to replace the creative mind.
No,
exactly.
But the problem is that the people who are making those decisions are not creative.
No, and they
don't
don't
look into how can we recycle something.
How can we recycle it? How can we save money? How can we make the biggest profit, the biggest gain on the smallest investment?
Yeah.
And they don't give two squirts of piss about you, your work, your passion, your love, your drive, your dedication to your craft. They don't care about any of that shit.
No. So, anyway, but here we are on Sketchy Saturday morning, drawing sketches, and we're doing our own stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you don't want originality, right here, all of us.
Right.
All I'm going to say is this, and it's going to be a hot take.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
And people are not going to like what I have to say, but that's okay.
Strap in.
Especially a certain type of people. But I would caution writers using AI
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
I will tell you this much. It's a lot easier to learn how to write than to learn how to draw.
Mm-hmm.
And so when AI does become the fad and fades off because it all looks alike or whatever the case is, or people get bored with it, because they will become lazy. They will become lazy. If you're too lazy enough to converse with an artist, you're probably too lazy enough to actually put a good book together anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So I would be very cautious about where you step on this, because at the end of the day, it's going to be, hey, you're trying to hire me to do this art that you can't get AI to do. But I remember that you went and you did the AI stuff, so I can go do my own thing. And at the end of the day, the aquarium on the computer screen doesn't get as much views as the aquarium downtown. That's all I'm saying. Little digital aquarium that you have on your screensaver. Nobody's sitting there watching that. Because there's nothing.
Nobody except for your cat.
Except for your cat. Yep. So I would, if I were a writer, I would be very cautious about where I stand on this. Because that could very well come and bite you on the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, but you've got to be able to. I mean, it's a muscle. Creativity is a muscle. It's a learned. It's something that you can learn to do.
And here's the thing: a lot of people don't want to learn. People literally do not want to learn hardly.
Well,
Really?
it's Mike. It's not that. It's not that simple. It is simple, but it's not that. And C hit it right on the head. It's laziness.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. People don't want to learn something hard because hard means that there's effort in there.
Right.
And seeing something take effort, we are literally mentally programmed to take the easy route.
Yeah.
Like everything that we have ever invented is out of laziness. It is someone that literally looked at the world, went, oh, I don't feel like doing that. So they invented something that would make their life easier. The guy making the toaster literally spent his entire fucking life making and inventing the toaster. Because
And God bless him, because I love me some toast.
oh yeah.
What would we do without Pop-Tarts? Am I right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Toaster strudels.
In the same kind of way, the only reason we taught ourselves to plow fields and what plants were edible is because, well, we didn't want to walk around all day. We didn't want to forage constantly. And suddenly there was some guy going, you know what? Maybe if we put these things that we normally put in our mouths in the ground, they might just grow again on the same place. And they did. And suddenly, you had
Agriculture.
you had agriculture. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
That's a ticket.
And then civilization was realized.
Essentially.
Hunter gatherers. Then there was the farm. It really is a whole another thing. It allows you to, stay in one place versus having to, keep traveling to find new work and new food.
Yeah.
Allison said I came to an odd place in the show.
Allison, you don't even have to come into the show for that. We're just all in a weird place, and we're all together like that. Also, John, holy crap, that is so natural looking. I am legitimately in awe with how good that looks, just flipping through. Oh man.
Yeah.
I looked over for
cool.
1 second. Man, that is so good.
That's what you do. There's a tactile feel to this.
Oh no, I believe that. Wow.
So, yeah. Here's my model sheet.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Your basic construction. I said this is a Saturday morning thing I'm doing here, so this is basic, But what you do with those basics is your craft.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what I was doing is just trying to do a basic walk. That's it's a 12 frame step, and that's so I all I'm doing is all the energy involved. Saying what do you do when you're passing? There's a let's see, this is number 3 here. Let's see, let me just get to 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this way I can really just registration page. There you go. Okay, so he's in the air. He lands, and then he's passing. You notice the contact of the foot, but he's straightening up his leg. You see that this part here?
Yeah.
And in doing that, what is from this point here, this foot here to there, he's traveled this distance. So what you do is you calibrate your pan to work each, how many frames that we have. We've got 4 frames between the two, so it has to travel. The pan has to be moving it incrementally every 24th of a second, that distance. That way you have slippage, you have a feeling of contact. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn it into a classroom.
No.
This is a classroom.
I know. I'm not apologizing. I'm just being polite.
This is why we do this. Right.
So and then here he's up in the air. He hits that, okay, and that foot. Now he just takes off and he hits that. And you got to think in terms of figure 8s, because everything is kind of cycling. So you're kind of doing this with everything, but you're also doing it, rotating it that way. You're doing side to side, and then going up and down. So there's a lot of different ways of thinking of what you're doing, and also there's a bit of squash and stretch, because there's the nose there, it's there, but it's if you see how there's a perspective element here, and then kind of it's a little bit funny. Anyway, that's what's going on.
So you're going to be over there with those degenerates on the After Hours network, John. So
I'm sorry.
I said you're going to be over there with us. Yeah, you weren't here. I don't know if you heard me earlier when I said that, or I'm going to start a fight between the two networks.
Yeah.
That way we kind of have a Biggie Tupac thing happening, East versus West. So bring people in. So you're going to be over there on the Degenerate network over there in After Hours. So my question is, what's your show going to be about over there? Are you going to be teaching animation stuff too, or are you?
Yes, I'll be teaching animation also, but in this case, it's with Michael the Bloodwing Angel.
Oh, cool.
And Michael will be dancing. I mean, I'll do whole dancing. I will just doing basic, jumping up and down, walking, posing, having, it'll be. It's not degenerate. It is art.
Yes. No. I'm picking. I'm not serious about whatsoever.
No. But some people will go. Wait a minute. You're drawing nude people. What's a cartoon?
No, we're talking about bounce and jiggle, buddy.
Yes, that's right. And basically, it's Michael is pretty much in the natural.
Yeah.
Speaking of it's a cartoon.
Yep.
I was flipping through the gram the other day, and A&W Root Beer had this big announcement on there that they were given, and I was today years old when I realized that A&W had a bear for a mascot.
They do. So was I.
Yeah, but the whole post was about now the Mr. Bear, Rudy, is going to now have pants. Because for the last 40 years he's been roaming around the country with free balling, and all of a sudden now he has to have pants on. And
what about Winnie the Pooh?
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I said, well,
There you
somebody
go.
needs to get
Donald
this memo
Duck.
to Donald Duck,
Yeah.
Daffy, Bugs, Tasmanian
Uh-oh.
Devil, Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote, because they're cartoons, people.
Nobody cares. Are we actually seeing
And a
something?
bear does
The
not
answer is
have
no.
pants. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I can just imagine the situation that occurred that made them do this. That probably some mother came into a restaurant and saw that bear, which I still have never realized that A&W had a root beer bear as a mascot, and pissed and moaned about the fact that this cartoon bear didn't have any pants on.
No. This is
Uh-oh.
all a joke and a hoax. Okay.
Oh,
So
really?
it really started over, and it's debatable as to whether the original shit that started all these mascot ads was it might be a publicity stunt. It was
yeah.
the whole wokeness over the M&Ms, and they're basically
Oh,
mocking
okay.
Mars's apology to the general public over
yeah.
the desexualization of the green M&M.
Mhm.
And adding the purple M&M, it's weird. But A&W did a spoof of it with their bear, and there was another company that did one too, but I can't recall who it is right off the top of my head.
Let's get down to the serious question here, Nita. Okay. Here's
I ate a green M&M once, and then I woke up in bed with a woman.
No. We're not
so-
worried about M&Ms. Forget M&Ms. M&Ms are done.
Okay.
Nita,
Yo.
when did you realize that A&W had a bear for a mascot?
Oh,
The
when they
real
did
questions.
when they made fun of him, Mars's publicity stunts.
So let's face it, A&W is failing at mascots anyway. So it doesn't matter what time.
You know what? Fair point.
Sorry, later, boys.
So what's the M&M controversy? Because I
Oh,
completely
okay.
understand.
So that you know how they were making all they were making all the M&Ms like have personality and character and whatever.
Yeah.
Then there was a deal where they changed the shoe style of the green M&M, right? And people got all pissy about it, saying that they had lesbianized the green M&M, and then
Not people, Tucker Carlson. But go ahead.
No, it was more than just him. I mean,
Tucker Carlson was upset that he couldn't sexualize.
He was the
green M&M
barking
anymore.
dog. Anyway, so then there was the issue with the purple M&M, which was added, as a representation of LGBTQ. Diversity. It was, and so then people started screaming about them being woke and so on and yada yada and whatever. And it's true though, because the last time I ate M&Ms, I woke up a racist lesbian. So,
and this is true.
I have yet to see the purple M&M.
All right, boys, have fun.
Oh, jeez. They're it's crazy.
Yep. Confirmed.
That's if ever there was an indication that people have too much spare time on their hands, it's that.
Yeah.
Yes.
You don't have a lot, basically.
Alice has been talking in the chat. I want to kind of show some things she said earlier, talking about what you said, Mike. She said, I'm debating on asking a few anthropologists I know about the human laziness and invention thing. So that should be interesting. And
I'd actually like to hear about that more.
Yeah. She also pointed out Porky Pig doesn't have pants.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Donna's here. Morning, Donna. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Donna.
And Alice said, GD M&Ms. Green M&Ms let you hit home runs. That was the controversy. And this is also Alice's realization day, because I was today years old as well when I learned A&W had a bear mascot. They're failing, A&W. You're failing. Fast Growth says, it's so easy these days to rattle a cage. It really is. It really is. And Alice says, and this will solve everything, right? We should just stop inventing things now.
That's right. Solve world hunger by not inventing things.
Well, they haven't been any good at it in the past few centuries or millenniums, so
Yeah.
Oh, they could solve it. They just don't want to.
they don't want to.
Yeah, pretty
My
much.
kids asked me the other day, and I know because this has so much to do with sketching, but asked me the other day about there's a guy who, and you might have heard of this. There's a guy that supposedly invented a car that runs on water, right?
Decades ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and supposedly he was killed.
Yep.
by the people. So, and I'm not saying that it's not true. And I'm not saying that it is true. What I am saying is this. If you couldn't buy the guy off, there's a good chance that you probably killed him. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Nikola Tesla is the best example of that.
Yeah.
He created free electricity, in, 100 years ago, and Big Oil came in and shut that down real quick.
Big Oil, also known as Thomas Edison. Well, Thomas Edison he was showing, what was it? It was direct current or alternating current that Tesla found. I can't remember. I get confused.
I don't remember which one, but yeah,
But one of those, anyway, what Edison did was he inadvertently showed the dangers of the current. And I bet you if Allison's listening, she knows.
Oh, it wasn't inadvertent. He did it on purpose.
No, he did. But what that's not what he inadvertently did. When he was showing the dangers of it, what he inadvertently did was create something called the electric chair. And
yes.
Oh yeah.
so because what they saw was, this thing is dangerous, we can use it to kill people.
Yeah.
And Thomas Edison didn't mourn that fact because he fought against the death penalty the rest of his life. But inadvertently choosing like one of the worst ways to kill somebody was because he wanted to show he wanted to outdo Tesla. What does that tell you?
Yeah,
I knew Allison. I knew you knew it, Allison. Alternating current.
Yeah, he wasn't he the one that killed the elephant in the
Yes.
Yes, to show the dangers of what Tesla was doing. He did. He was so jealous of Tesla's genius that he did everything in his power to discredit him, make him seem like a lunatic. And he had the deeper
professional
pockets.
jealousy is real, folks.
Oh yeah,
you don't just deal with it in the artistic community.
Well, and he had the deeper pockets, so he won.
Oh yeah.
Well, Daphne, I don't know if you like it or not, but I'm pretty much turning your character into an 80s cartoon.
Oh yeah. He did make the death ray, and the U.S. Navy is currently using it.
They because after Tesla died, the U.S. government went in there and confiscated all of his records.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they freaking ransacked the place. But technically, it's never been proven that he made the death ray. Although there was an incident in Russia where there was a huge explosion that wiped out acres and acres, right? And there's a lot of thought that could have been him testing the death ray.
Oh no, that's already debunked. That was just
right. That was a meteorite. Yeah, and that was
That was
right. No.
You talk about
I believe that. Totally believe that. Totally believe that.
You talk about the explosion in Siberia?
Yeah. Totally believe that. Totally.
No, it was just a meteorite strike.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Whatever you say.
Oh, well, that was sarcastic. Jeez.
I guess I should say whatever they say, right?
Exactly.
There we go.
I don't know.
Remember, folks, they control the narrative.
Look, I only worry. That sounds selfish, but what affects me and the people around me, that if they end up blowing us up with the death ray, well, it's not. The effect's already been done. So
I mean, if they're gonna blow us all up with a death ray, we're not there to notice it anymore. Nobody cares.
Right? They lied to us. Damn it! I knew it.
Sounds very, very Flash Gordon-ish.
That is true.
Allison says that was a meteor, and I could cite the evidence of it. Okay,
Yeah.
but where are you getting the evidence, Allison? Ah,
Yes. Source your material.
Glenn's in the chat. What's up, Glenn? Hey, Don Doulis. Morning, Dawn.
We're jumping into a rabbit hole, Glenn.
Afraid.
Oh, yeah.
No, Allison, and I'm sorry. I'm sure it probably was a meteor. I'm teasing. Really, I am. So don't think that. I'm just picking.
C is just on a warpath today for some reason.
That's right. I'm trying to pick fights. Like I'm trying to get that. I'm pulling off that Niobe kind of feel. Anyway, but I'm gonna start fights to see if we get like a wrestling match happening. What is who was it? And I know Rodney, you remember this. Andy Kaufman and
the Wrestling Bear.
Yeah. What was his name?
The Bear?
No, Andy Kaufman, who he was fighting against.
What the hell? Jerry the King Lawler.
Yes, Lawler. Yeah.
Yeah, on
So,
David Letterman.
And, they were friends. they were friends, so they were just starting. Whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Just starting fights.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, go to YouTube and go to David Letterman NBC and Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler fights. And this was back in the early 80s when Letterman came on after Johnny Carson, so it was late at night.
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Kaufman, for those of you who don't know who Andy Kaufman was, he was just an amazing genius comedian, and he was always in character. You never got to see the real Andy Kaufman.
Here I come to save the day.
Okay. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay.
I mean, so much
Jim
so
Carrey
that
played him in a movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. he was always so into character that when he died, folks actually thought that it was a gag. It was part of a skit or something.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a complete setup. That's my whole point, dog. We're just starting fights it's a complete setup. But look, it wasn't. But see, that kind of stuff was happening all the time in the '80s, and that's basically what wrestling. I hear right now wrestling is really big because of the storyline they have going on in the WWE, which is still hard for me to say because I grew up with the WWF and WCW, but whatever. But the WWE, they're having a storyline right now that apparently is really raising the awareness of the brand. I don't know what it is because I haven't watched it in years. But another one they used to had that back and forth versus, but they were really great friends in real life was Cyndi Lauper and Captain Now. Captain, come on, Rodney, you with me, right?
Yeah. What's his name? It starts with an A.
Mario. He played Mario, for goodness sakes. He's Mario on the Mario Brothers Super Show.
Oh boy.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I feel young.
We're talking about rivalries. We're talking about
Yeah, Lou Amma something or other.
Captain Lou.
Captain Lou.
I'm going to be right back because I have a cat that is being needy. Let's say needy.
Go need your cat.
Yeah.
Lou Albano.
Yeah. They were great friends in real life.
Yeah, they started. It wasn't very publicized. I mean, it was if you're in those circles. But Cyndi Lauper and Lou Albano they were good friends. He showed up in her music video. Girls just want to
have fun.
Yeah. And but they were basically it was basically just like this joke rivalry, and they each got because Lou was a wrestling manager, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
they
was
take their wrestlers to have this, to go out and have this. What's it called? I knew it before we talked about it. Where it's a wrestling match, but it's not really a wrestling match. It's a like they do with boxing sometimes. It's a showcase, as it were.
A showcase. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the weird thing about because I grew up on wrestling too, but when I started going to conventions, and the wrestlers were there, and you'd see them walking together or sitting, at the hotel restaurant having breakfast, you would be like, "Oh, wait a second, you guys hate each other." And of course, the only
Totally
one that
destroyed him.
yeah, it's so funny. But the only one that never, ever, ever, ever broke character was the Iron Sheik. And he
Oh,
was
yeah?
so fun to mess with. We would be in Chicago, and people would he would walk down the aisle, and people would look at him. Now, keep in mind, this was the 90s in Chicago, and he would walk down the aisle, and he would say, "Michael Jordan is shit."
Oh, wow. Okay.
He would just start shit on purpose and get everybody whipped up into a froth. And it was just hilarious. And he was doing it one time, and I stood up and yelled something. I don't even remember what it was. And he looked at me, and he just gave me a wink. He was a riot.
Yeah. So, Dawn said, we watched WWE for years. LA. And Kane is now mayor now. And K-Fab was alive and well. Okay, explain that term to me. I don't understand that term. And I heard about it. It took me forever to find this comic book K-Fab channel because I didn't know what K-Fab was. What is K-Fab?
I don't know
What does that mean?
No idea.
I've watched the show, but I don't know what it means. Comics K-Fab.
I have no idea what a K-Fab
Audience
is.
participation, please help.
In professional wrestling, it's the fact or convention of presenting stage performances as genuine or authentic. Well, that helps for wrestling. I have no idea what that means for comic book K-Fab, but
maybe it's
it's a new term to me. I've never heard it before.
well, maybe it's in reference to all the feuding and stuff. And
yeah, Dawn said it's the it's the fake wrestling script character. It's just basically the good versus evil, New World Order, those kind of storylines in wrestling or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I thought about doing wrestling on Dispatches to talk about it because there is this close correlation with wrestling and comic books, which I'm not quite sure how that got started.
I used to do a web comic called Hard and Soft Taco, and it was about two Mexican wrestlers that were on the junior circuit and trying to make it to the bigs, and all the clowns that they would encounter in the wrestling circuit.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we had all kind of wrestlers like Broccoli Rob was he was the announcer, and then we would have Chop Suey and just all kind of. It was all based on goofy food names and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it ran for like 2 years.
Cool.
Okay, I'm going to show my age, but because it's easy to do that. My reference is my grandmother would babysit us, my brother and I, when we were I'm about 5 and my brother is 2. So we're talking about the early 50s, mid 50s. And she loved watching wrestling. So I'm watching wrestling. My brother and I are watching wrestling with my grandmother on her, black and white TV about 1956, 57. And the wrestlers back then was Bruno Sammartino, Haystacks Calhoun, Gorgeous George.
People didn't have egos at all, did they?
Oh well, you had to. Oh yeah, and it was the tag team matches, and then you'd have Haystacks Calhoun, being taking on the midget wrestlers. I mean, but it was taking place in New York City because everything was local channels, so that's what we had. Bruno Sammartino was the most popular of them all at that time.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it was fun watching that because you'd be screaming at the TV at the ref who can't see that that's gorgeous George was, or the villain was grabbing Bruno Sammartino's bikini. He was trying to pull him down.
Oh yeah, and then somebody would inevitably reach into their trunks, and you were like, "Look, he's got to get some brass knuckles."
Yeah,
Look
he's
at
getting
him.
something.
Watch him wrestle.
Yeah.
It was almost like a rite of passage when you were a kid that you had to watch the wrestling, and I mean, and it wasn't just the guys, because my sister was right there with us watching it, and my stepdad sometimes he'd be there, and we'd be wrestling him, and it just turned into a Rumble Royal in the living room every Saturday morning. But those were great memories, man. Oh my goodness, kitty cat.
She's being a little thing. Here she is. Hey. Yeah, you little spoiled brat. That's right. Go over there. Go eat your dinner.
Wow.
Ow.
All right, let's see if I can hear this is going here.
All right. Well, I've done 1 out of 2 variant covers.
Yeah, my wrestling days were, at first it was because like you said, it's a rite of passage. I think almost every man goes through that, or not necessarily every man, but most people go through that, or the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it was, in my day, it was when I was younger, it was Ultimate Warrior, and the Hulk Hogan and all that at that time.
Yeah.
It's amazing that the Three Stooges exist. Just went through. You go through. That's, as you said, it's a rite of passage. There's something hormonal for guys, for boys to watch the Three Stooges, because it's basically it's sibling fights.
Yeah.
And that's exactly basically what they were. I mean, Mo, Curly, and Shep were brothers. Larry was a stranger. He was not blood related, but Mo, Curly, and Shep were brothers.
Huh.
From Bensonhurst, from my neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, talk about like the turn of the 19th century. 1908, 1911. They were Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge, Coney Island.
Allison says, I can tell you, I watched wrestling for reasons when I was a kid.
I mean.
But like on the Stooges front, there's just certain things that are just, I don't want to say necessarily organic. That might not be the right word, but that just last. Like, we're still talking about Abbott and Costello. And we're still talking about, like the Three Stooges and Groucho Marx. And there's something about that comedy that's just, it's not limited. I could still watch a Groucho Marx bit and laugh. It's not limited to that time. It's not, not dated.
It's timeless. Like the Who's on First bit that Abbott and Costello did.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Legendary.
That's comic genius.
But the whole idea is that it made sense.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, humor makes sense to one of the characters, and there's a certain element of saying, okay, I understand, but it's really dumb. But you know what? It's funny.
No, absolutely. But they're really dumb. So if you're watching, like, I'm smart enough not to do this kind of stuff. Unless you're Groucho Marx. That guy was clever as all get out. So.
Yeah. Well, a lot of their routines were done with Hoffman. It really top writers.
You can be close. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it just goes to show you that if you're good at writing some. Well, we were talking about this with Night Court the other day. You can go back and watch Night Court now and still laugh at that because it wasn't character driven, but the characters were written well enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to ask you this here because you're saying, what do you think? I haven't looked at it much. How do you like they've redone Night Court?
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. I didn't much care for it either.
I looked at it and said, "This is all wrong."
Yes.
Yep.
It's wrong. What's his name? Lara Cat. I mean,
John Larroquette.
he's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the prosecutor, not the defense lawyer.
The issue, I can almost see him being put in that type of position, but as Dan, this is not Dan. This is not Dan. And somebody says, well, they can't do the sleazy. And like I said, Rodney's probably like, we talked about this.
No. I mean, I welcome the opportunity to talk about it more. So
yeah, well, you can't put everybody. And here's the thing, guys. Take this into character study with your books. Dan Fielding was, yes, he was sleazy. That was an aspect of his character, but that was not his whole character. Dan was clever. Dan was underhanded. Dan was ambitious. And because of his ambition, when he was made a fool of, it was that much funnier.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've basically taken Dan Fielding. He's now a curmudgeon, washed up guy. And he doesn't have that ambition anymore. And that ambition is what made that character. Mm-hmm. Now you don't have it anymore. He's not that character. That's not Dan Fielding. That is a facsimile.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The issue comes in with Night Court is they don't understand why Night Court was created.
Mm-hmm.
There's this idea that you have to have these heartfelt. It's almost like the 90s sitcom TGI Friday when they started getting into the drug specials and the heart specials and trying to make you aware. Now everybody wants to write like that, but that was not Night Court at all. Did they have heartfelt moments? Absolutely, because they had good writers on that show.
Mm-hmm.
But the issue comes in where Night Court was the creators of Night Court had to actually go to Night Court in New York City. They saw some really crazy stuff. They said this would make a show, and that's what that show was based on, was the really crazy stuff that was happening with Night Court.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and that was what the basis of the show was. But you needed to have characters to relate to the audience, and that's how come those characters were well written. Now you have what's her name, Melissa Rauch. And I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, but you guys know how I am with names now. But you have Melissa Rauch, and she's Harry Stone's daughter. And I've come to do, what my father tried to do. He tried to, make a difference and blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing about Harry T. Stone. Harry T. Stone was written as a good judge. He wasn't written as a judge to rock the system. He wasn't written as a judge to come in and do stuff that other people weren't doing. The only difference between Harry was, and somebody brought this up, I think Rodney said it, or it might have been Mitch, said it the other night behind the scenes of Dispatches. Why Harry was a judge was because he was home and answered the phone.
Yeah, that was
It wasn't because he was trying to make a difference. Well, now he did because he was a well-rounded, well-written character. He was a good judge. You couldn't have a corrupt judge on there and people still like to watch that show. That would just make Night Court sad.
Yeah.
So, but that's what that show was about. It was about the weirdness, and you had normal people having to deal with that weirdness of Night Court. They were the people to connect with the audience. Right. That's what that was. But they don't understand that. Now she's coming in and she's trying to make a difference for Dan, and she's trying to do this. I personally think that it would have, if they had better writers, the cast wouldn't be as horrible as they are now. And that's really hard for me to say because, like I said Tuesday, John Larroquette deserves to be on a good show.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
But that's my piece on. I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
because I grew up with that show, and it's like this is totally not it. This is blasphemy.
I will go over my my commentary that I had last week when we were talking about it. I don't know if it was backstage or on air, but you've got these writers today that grew up in an environment where everything was politically correct and kids were raised with kid gloves, and now they're the adults and they're writing these sitcoms that were based in the 80s and the 90s, where it was a completely different world.
Yep.
Where there were disgusting, vile characters and people, but that made the other characters that much more likable. You have to have the sullied and the bad to make the good work.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that because they've always been raised with everybody's nice and the world's good and everybody's equal, and they're trying to rehash all these brilliant, genius sitcoms from back then with that approach, and it's a waste of time. It's an exercise in futility.
Mm-hmm.
Because they defanged Luke Skywalker, like you said, and they defanged Larroquette's character, Dan Fielding. Yeah, and it's just and it's the climate that we live in today, and it's sad.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you this was just a real shocker for me. The woman that's directing the Night Court show is the one that directed How I Met Your Mother. And if you watched How I Met Your Mother, you had a character like Barney on there that was just, insulting to the senses, no matter what decade you're in.
Well, but again, that was, that's 15 years ago. It was a different climate, and you could write a character like that. And today, you can't.
Well, no.
Well, what you find with especially early 2000s comedy is that you didn't have any likable characters in sitcoms, generally. Like, they all each had their own little thing that made them unlikable, but that made the things and the humor happening to them all the more funny because they weren't likable. You had a reason to, go against their, to have their karma completely blow them up. And if you're sympathizing with, the bad guy because he had such a horrible past, karma isn't going to come for him. Like, karma already did, and you're trying to redeem someone that isn't supposed to be in a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Right. Well, what you question, why do you come up with these type of topics? Why do you come up with these type of shows or these type of stories? Let's look at what's lasted. Shameless it's I don't know. I think it might have ended, but it lasted for several seasons. I didn't watch the show, but I've heard it's pretty raunchy, right?
Yeah.
But here's the one that really blows you out of the water.
It's a great show.
Here's the thing that blows you out of the water. Out of all of this idea of how you have to be nowadays. Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
That show is completely off the freaking cuff, and it is going into its 15th season. So what are you doing? As I said, if Night Court wasn't on NBC and if it was on something like FX, they could do it. They could do it. It would probably be good. But because it's on network television, quote unquote, they're so worried about how it's going to come off.
Yeah, they can't offend anybody.
No, because if they offend anybody, they're going to lose even more watchers. And let's be honest.
It's the network. It's all network. The problem with network is that it's a public access. It's public airwaves, and so therefore there's a certain level that you can't do.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have their license pulled. But the thing about it is that I remember how when the original All in the Family came on, that was a real crazy thing back then.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
know,
yeah.
just the first time that you heard a toilet flush. You know, that was the entrance. That was the entrance for for Archie Bunker.
Yeah, that she was great. Yeah, I love that show.
And so therefore, but you know what? I know that it's such, but I really, to me, there's a lot of. I'm gonna say something bad. Married with Children sent a crudeness element to me that wasn't in Archie Bunker.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, that probably was, was it 1984, 85?
88. On to
88? Yeah,
90s,
okay.
yeah.
That's when they did that with Married with Children.
Mhm.
There was an
Yeah.
element to that I could not relate to and I had a problem with. And that whole lineup of Fox shows gave me a problem. Now I understand totally the element of The Simpsons, but
Yeah.
that's a completely different thing to me. Maybe it's just because of cartooning. I don't know, but
Well,
I
I'll
just
put it this way.
know that there's a certain level of rawness that I just don't like, or just crudeness. That's just me. I mean, but back then, I mean, in comparison to today, who knows? There's a certain level of stuff that I'll go and say, okay, I know why they're doing this. It's like a lot of the shows on Stars, I just don't watch. I don't watch that cable station because anytime I see stuff with it, I know they're pandering. So,
Well, I'll tell you what I'll tell you the difference when it comes to Married with Children and All in the Family.
okay.
All in the Family had a mission. The
Yeah.
mission was to expose. It was almost holding a mirror up to a mirror up to society.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you had Archie Bunker versus Meathead, which were both extreme, and Michael,
Right.
which were
Right.
both extremes of both topics, of both
Right.
views. So, but they didn't shy back from it. Married with Children was just raunchy. There very rarely did you have an episode that taught you a lesson.
Yeah.
And I love Married with Children. I did grow up with Married with Children. It was trash TV. Let's be honest.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, as horrible as their viewpoints were, and as raunchy and nasty as some of their lines were, Al Bundy was still a faithful husband and a provider to his family. I think that's what ended up being conveyed even through all that. And I think that's why that stayed, because there is still a humanness to these characters, even though the show was just straight up trash.
Yeah, he had a redeemable quality about him. I mean, his life sucked, but he still lived up to his obligations and took care of his family. And so there was a little bit of a moral compass in there.
Yeah.
Like Donna said, I quit watching Married with Children because of all the fat jokes. And yeah, they
fair.
Completely out of hand.
A lot of cheap sex jokes as well.
Oh yes, absolutely. So it didn't have a focus. It was meant to be raunchy, and it was a network trying to be seen. That's what that was.
Yeah,
that's what Fox was at that time. Because Fox had just been on for what, maybe a year by the time they premiered that?
I think 86, 87.
Yeah.
So they started with the Tracy Ullman show, and they went with The Simpsons and 21 Jump Street, and then Married with Children.
No, I think Married with Children was first.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because Simpsons. But I say it's first, but you're looking at the Tracy Ullman show where it had
Well, the Simpsons were little vignettes in the Tracy Ullman show.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
So they were around before that. But but even with the Simpsons, and there was a lot of controversy with the Simpsons, and I can say bitch. It means female dog. It's like that's unheard of. But the issue comes in with that. Simpsons did at the end of the day teach you a lesson.
Yeah.
They stuck it in there.
Oh yeah, that was a completely different reason for that. Yeah, it's a different energy of it.
And I plan on talking about this and doing a show for Simpsons on the Dispatches at some point. But there's and another thing too is the writing on that show when it first started was fantastic because it would start, and it's a very key element to understand that they would start with one thing and you're thinking, oh, it's going to go this way, and by midpoint of that show, that plot has completely changed, and that was not the plot. So it had well writing when it came to something like Married with Children. Like Lana said, it was a lot of fat jokes, which is really funny because one of the main producers and writers on that show was the neighbor, was Marcy.
Yeah.
And so she was one of the driving forces behind that show, which is hilarious when you think about that. She's openly gay. She's been that way since the 90s. She was a comedian, Amanda Burst, and so yeah, they said some stuff that her character would find offensive, but there might be a good chance that she wrote it. One thing you can say, I can't say about that show, regardless of how raunchy it was, is there were some fantastic actors that did come out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But for me, when I was young, I'll tell you, I have two words to tell you why I was watching that show mostly: Christina Applegate, and
yeah.
So, just to be honest, to put it out there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's and why everybody's kind of like, oh well, this is Sketchy Saturday while we're talking about this, but it really does come back to you take it back to comics. At that point in time, when comics were selling big, they were like, take Watchmen for instance. Watchmen was out there. Watchmen was different. Dark Knight. I know a lot of people. Yes, the reason why comics have been drab like that is because of those. But that's because people took it and thought that was the magic formula and didn't understand what it was doing at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Knight and Watchmen became the blueprint for the DC universe for the next 40 years.
Shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been.
Right.
I think what needs to be understood at this point in time is honestly, I was never a Captain America fan. But I became one, like watching the movies and stuff like that, and then like picking up Civil War and things like that, because there's this character that personifies who you want to see yourself as.
Yeah,
somebody good, somebody honorable. The same thing with Superman, and it's time to get back to that. It's time to stop deconstructing everything.
And the thing that a lot of people don't realize about Captain America, because they never read the comic books, is Captain America was always against the bullshit that was the government.
Oh, yes. Well, that's what Civil War was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
No, he was always against the overreach of the governments and constantly fought for the individual rights of people.
Mm-hmm.
Of people, exactly. Oh, look, real quick, Rodney. Efren asked, what marker is that?
It's a Copic.
Okay.
Just a basic Copic.
Focus.
Basic copy.
There we go.
Yeah.
Copic sketch marker.
What's the number on it?
RV25.
I don't know if he's interested in the color or just the type.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say what color it was.
Oh wow! See, there I go talking over you again. Gotta stop.
Oh, you're good. It's all good.
All right, guys. It's about 1.5 hours. How about we start wrapping up?
Okay.
Because the kitty might have had dinner, but I have not, and I'm starting to get hungry.
So okay,
yeah, go ahead.
so I guess since I was the last in, first out, I'll say Michael Lanning. Check me out on Linktree /C Michael Lanning. Of course, as we've been lightly touching on, we also have dispatches from outside the box every Tuesday. This week we'll be talking about the inspiration of circuses and what that can do for your comic or your story, whatever you want to do. So check that out at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on the IndieComicsNetwork.com. Not the After Darks, because those guys. But
we don't talk about After Dark here.
Right. And of course, if you ever want to get in touch with me for anything, you can check me out on Messenger or Facebook.
There you go. MarV.
Hey, yeah, you can find me on Sketchy Saturday every Saturday, and on Facebook, MarV Singular, and yeah, I did Uriel for the panel. Just took me a long time to make this because
there we go.
I prefer doing it digitally, but it's looking good.
Yeah,
so,
that's great, man.
Nice.
Thank you. Hopefully I'll be with you guys again next week, and I will have some goodness to share with you guys. So yeah, see you next time.
All right. Sweet. How about you, Jan? Where can people find you?
You can find me at the John Celestri Comics.square.site. You can see that there's my little shop. I'm here on Saturdays on Sketchy Saturdays, and pretty soon in February, maybe about a week and a half from now, we'll start with The Devil's in the Details.
Sweet.
Yes, there you go.
That's on that other network. But.
That's the other network. That's
the other
where
ones.
I could do stuff that I can't do here, and I still won't be able to do what I want to do.
John, you would do great on Newgrounds.
Is that around still?
Yeah, no, Newgrounds is one hell of a driving force behind all the stuff you find on YouTube that's animated and just games and stuff. It still has an active gaming community. It still has an active webcomic community. Like, it's big. It's still a big thing. Just because it's not as popular as it used to be. A lot of it is one of the most creator-focused sites on the web at the moment. So
cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth just still using it as a mirror or just as a social, because it actually does have a lot going on for itself.
Awesome. I'll have to go back and check it out. I have one. I just haven't been over there. There's so much to keep up with.
It's been years. I'm going to be honest.
And considering that DeviantArt is probably not going to be a place anymore.
No.
Really.
I'm considering using it as a mirror for Love and Cora work in progresses for the pilot. Because it might just get me some extra credit over there, because there's a lot of creators that we know nowadays that came from newgrounds.com. It's newgrounds.com. And yeah, they were the first Flash movie website, essentially, the biggest one.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss and everything. What's her name? Vivipop or?
Yeah, Vivipop.
Yeah, that's where she came from, huh?
One of many. You got Rubber Ninja, Rubber Ross. You have Ego Raptor, which is now the Game Grumps Aaron. There's so many people that are my age right now. They were 13, 14 years old. They were like, okay, I can get into Flash animation. and they made an animated movie and got popular there. And suddenly, this 14-year-old kid had a career ready to go because he made an animation.
Right.
I was late.
Yeah, isn't that always
Wait.
the case?
Anyway, Rodney, where can people find you?
Hey, everybody. You guys can find me at Rodney Fyke Art on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. You can also find me right here on the Indie Comics Network 4 days a week. You can find me next on Monday at Fyke It Let's Draw. Tuesdays with C. Michael and the gang for Dispatches Outside the Box. Thursday Night Throwdown on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. So, and this week we are doing a charity drawing. All of the drawings that are done on the show will be donated to the Hero Initiative.
Right.
Nice.
And we're gonna auction off the pieces. So everybody come check that out. We got some really awesome artists coming in. Going to be slinging some ink that night. So come check it out. So yeah, and also Hazm.com, HAZZUM.com, where you can check out all of our books, such as Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Unchained, Pitter Patter, Roadkill Rampage, and very soon to a Kickstarter near you, Doghouse.
Get notified.
Yeah.
Get notified. Mash that button.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've been Mike Jimmy Duran. You can find everything about me over on my Linktree. You can find me on Thursdays on Hang On Animation at 1 p.m. Eastern. And next week, I will not be joining for Sketchy Saturday because I will be drawing a 24-hour comic in 24 hours, 24-page comic in 24 hours with Kimi Comics, the debut of my girlfriend in comics and Kimi's husband, Gio. And yeah, we're going to have 2 writers and 2 artists making a completely new Love and Chorus story in 24 hours. I'm so looking forward to it. It is going to be so much fun. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Catch you next week.
See y'all.
Take
Take
care.
care, everybody.